Welcome to Ed Fluential Sports, where passion meets precision. It's I'm your host, Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. And this is episode 2 of Sports Fanatic Forum. So make sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share. And we're gonna get right into it. I already did the intro on Tuesday, so it's no need for me to do an introduction. As you see from the title and the thumbnail, you know what some of the main topics are going to be. But we're going to get into it with the AEW Dynamite recap. I give Dynamite 8.5 out of 10. Some of the segments there's three things that happen on Dynamite that I'm not talking about. Don Callis and Kenny Omega, their feud, I'm going to make it short about that. Hangman, I'm going to make it short about him as well. More specific segment, I'm going to talk about his match, but it's a segment that happened later that I want to talk about in the MJF match. I'm going to make it short about that. So I'll make shorts about those three things. But the other stuff that happened on Dynamite, Darby Allin taking on Pac, a fun match, for a way to get the show started. That spot he took with the steel steps, that was really dumb. But Pac, he finally beat Pac, and now he's beating every member of the Death Riders. So yeah, that was definitely dope. Willa Yuta tried to get involved, but it didn't matter. Darby, he made Pac tap twice. Actually, the first time the ref didn't see it because the ref was knocked down after a usual ref bump in the Death Riders match. But he made him tap this time with the ref conscious. So Darby Allin was able to get the win. I don't know where Darby Allin or Pac goes from here, but as long as it's away from each other, because the Death Riders, I need to venture off and do something else now. Like obviously John Moxley doing his thing. Marina Shafir, she got the tag team thing going with Megan Payne. And that's really just because Penelope Ford is injured. So hopefully they can find something else for the other Death Riders to do, whether that be them going after the trios titles again or just doing something else. But yeah, the feud with Darby, hopefully that's over. It's been cool, but it's been long enough. Hangman, he had a match versus Brian Keith. So that was Brian Keith as the bounty hunter. Samoa Joe put a bounty on a Hangman, and the bounty hunter Brian Keith. That's actually a really cool gimmick. The only reason why I didn't like it is because he doesn't win matches. So it's like he has the gimmick of the bounty hunter, but he's barely winning matches, and he wants to go after Hangman. It's like, okay, that he had a match against Hangman 3 years ago when he first debuted in AEW, which I don't remember. I'm sure it was a solid match, just like this one was. It was a really good match, but it's like I don't remember. I think I missed that episode because I've been watching AEW for the last 3 years for sure. Like I was on and off when it first started, but I definitely watched since Brian Keith has been there. Don't remember his match with Hangman, but it's like he's the bounty hunter, but he barely wins anything. So that's kind of interesting. Then Big Bill got involved. I'm like, I just wish they'd be doing tag team stuff at this point. Like I prefer they be a tag team. Like I'm glad they didn't break up after the Jericho thing was over, but why not go after the tag team championships? And I'll talk about some of the tag teams later. But we in the number one contenders match that we saw on the show. It's like go after some of the tag teams. There's no point of being the bounty hunter if you're not going after specific people because they have a bounty on their head. Okay, but if he isn't winning matches or at least getting disqualified and just inflicting pain on his opponents, that's like he didn't inflict pain on Adam Page. Adam Page was yeah, Hangman Adam Page. He was cruising through this match. Then Swerve had to come out there and help him because Big Bill got involved. So Swerve was really just evening up the odds of what was going on. So that Hangman, he ended up getting the win with Buckshot. So it was what it was. Solid match, but it wasn't nothing special. And then you had Brody King. He had a match versus MJF's translator. The MJF's translator was talking crazy to Bandito in Spanish last week, which was really funny. And Bandito, obviously, he got a match against MJF, which I'll make it short about later. And so the translator met Brody King backstage, and the translator, he was telling him, like, hey, tell Bandito to apologize for what he did to me last week. He was like, I don't know about that because I'll see you in the ring later. So he kind of just shoved him into the ring, forcing him into a match. And usually I don't like squash matches when they're trying to build somebody up. But the reason I like this is because it's actually a story with this specific squash match because he was talking trash to Brody's tag team partner, his friend Bandito. So he was like, I'll just take care of him. So They had a short-lived match. It was like a minute and a half, but it was a funny segment, and it also made sense. It wasn't just a normal squash match with somebody random. It's somebody that we had seen that might be featured more on AEW TV. But that was definitely a solid segment that I enjoyed. You had, as I mentioned earlier, tag teams. Mark Davis, Jack Doyle, part of the Don Callis family, which it is a lot of people in that group. If the Don Callis family was just the tech, because AEW, I know they got a lot of titles, but if the Don Callis family was like six guys in Don Callis, that'd be fine. Like if it was these two, since they're going after the tag titles, Jake Doyle and Mark Davis, if it was them two, you had Fletcher, Okada, Takeshita, and Andrade. Let's just say it's them six in the Don Callis family, and Don Callis is managing them. It's like, okay, they can go after any championship at any point in time. And it's like, okay, it's too many people going on. There's other deals and partnerships going on. It's like way too much. Like it's like I don't know. Like it don't feel like a wrestling vibe with the Don Callis family. But they had a fatal four-way tag team match. Mark Davis, Jack Doyle taking on Jet Speed, taking on the Young Bucks, and taking on the Gates of Agony. A really fun fatal four-way tag team match. All four teams look great. Ricochet tried to get involved. That him and Don Callis was on commentary. Yeah, Ricochet should probably stay on commentary, but it makes sense for the match. He got off of commentary, tried to get involved, and that's when Jack Perry came out there. And Jack Perry got a match with Anthony Bowens this weekend on Saturday, and that's going to determine who faces Ricochet again for the championship, for the national championship. I'm hoping it's Jack Perry because the story is still there. Don't stray further away from the story. Like, just let Jack Perry win the match and keep that going. Or if Jack Perry loses, because of Ricochet, have Anthony Bowens, and Anthony Bowens wins, have Jack Perry try to help Anthony Bowens, but it doesn't work out because Gates had near there or whatever. But this fatal four-way tag team match, it was really good. I thought Jet Speed was going to win it. I am questioning this decision because why do heel versus heel with the Don Callis family versus FTR? Like, that don't make sense to me. So it's like, yeah, heel versus heel and face versus face can work sometimes because it's like, the story is simply, I just want the championship. Like, sometimes it's not the most elaborate story. Sometimes this is what it is. But it's like they just teamed up for the first time. They're the least experienced team, so they don't really have a goal or a purpose. And they ain't really had a promo. Like, they just ran through people last week. But it's like, this don't really make sense. Even if the Gates of Agony would have won, it's like, okay, at least they have experience teaming together. But it's like no experience, just Jack Doyle seems like already getting a tag team push now that he's signed. But it's like, even when he was, and I'm surprised he didn't stay in TNA as a Jake something, because I did enjoy what he was doing. I feel like that would have been a better fit for him. But he goes to AEW and it's immediately exerted in the Don Callis family. But it's also paid off to an extent because he's getting a tag team title opportunity. But I don't like the aspect of the Don Callis family versus FTR. That's like FTR is going to win, but it's going to be so many shenanigans that it's going to be annoying. But it's also like, why not do the Young Bucks and FTR? Because only when the match is taking place. Obviously, I don't think they're losing anytime soon, but the Young Bucks and FTR has to take place for the tag titles. Like, whatever happens by Revolution, hopefully FTR still has the belts, and this is where the Young Bucks can win them. Do the Young Bucks versus FTR at Revolution. It's perfect for the tag division. Then the last thing I'm going to talk about from Dynamite, the Triangle of Madness, a.k.a. Tekla, Scott Blue, and Julia Hart. They defeated the Babes of Wrath, consisting of Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron, along with their tag partner last night, Chris Statlander. Trios matches usually delivered in AEW. Another trios match that did deliver, and the champions took the loss. The Babes of Wrath, the tag champions, and Chris is also a TBS champion. I mean, not Chris, Willow. She's also TBS champion, while Chris is the world champion. Chris Statlander took the bullet for Willow Nightingale, and Tekla pinned Chris Statlander. So they're planting the seeds. And Tekla, she's going after the world championship. The Sisters of Sin, they're going after the tag championships. Now, I don't know who's going to be going after Willow. She did say she's willing to fight twice in one night. So you do have to play into that. Now, when she does it, you have to do it like consistently. Whenever she loses one of those titles, the story is simply just her being burnt out from wrestling so much. And obviously, it don't got to be every week. But if it's like every other week where she has two matches in one night, or she just wrestles on both Dynamite and Collision, you can build some stories, have a tag team match on a Dynamite one-on collision. Like maybe a Maya World can get a match one-on-one. Obviously, they got good tag chemistry. Maybe Maya World gets a one-on-one match with Willow somehow, and Sky Blue Call start a match, leading, building up that tag team feud, something like that. Obviously, it'll be a fast push, but you just got to build to it like that sometimes. So, with that being said, I give Dynamite an 8.5 out of 10. There was some other good stuff that happened. It was a few things that happened that I wasn't a fan of, but it'll be three things that I cover in the shorts that I make after this is over. But now we can move on to the rankings portion of the podcast. So DPOY for basketball. It's January 15th, and I was just thinking, who should be Defensive Player of the Year? Because you don't follow me on Instagram, the Paradox Ed. I do a series called The Clamp 5, which is each Wednesday. I, I put together a graphic of the five of the best defender at each position for that week, make a starting five, point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward. And I've been doing it since the season started to from Tuesday to Tuesday. That's what it is. So, well, it started Tuesday, so now it's from Wednesday to Tuesday. So every 7 days. But the Clamp 5, that's something I do where I just talk about the best defenders in the NBA on a week-to-week basis. So sometimes it's certain guys that might not make it due to injuries, due to not playing. Maybe they just played one game. Maybe they took a few losses. And obviously wins, losses, that's team accomplishment. But still for DPOY, it's still somewhat important because you got to make a win. Because sometimes you can't control how bad the team plays. But with that being said, my Defensive Player of the Year candidates for this year, if I would, and this is my award selection, not what I think the NBA would do, but I would go Derek White for DPOY at this point in the season. He's been the best shot blocking shooting guard in the NBA. He's giving you about 4 rebounds per game, giving you 1.5 blocks per game, which is a career high. That's like, despite him struggling offensively, which I did speak on in the calendar year 2025, like he did struggle shooting, and he still is. Like the last few games, he's been pretty bad shooting wise, but I can't harp on that too much because he's giving you so much more on defense. He's giving you 1.3 steals, 1.5 blocks, and he's averaging less than 2 fouls per game. So, and I think in 4 times that I made the Clamp 5 over the course of this season, Derek White has been on there 4 times. So at this point in the season, Derek White is my Defensive Player of the Year because that's just how good he's been. That's the type of impact he's made. And the Celtics have still been a top 3 seed despite Jason Tatum not playing. They had a slow start to the season. Jaylen Brown, he stepped up, looked like an MVP candidate. Derek White looks like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. And that just goes to show how good this Boston team is because obviously I do think, well, you can make the argument for Tatum being the best defender. Yeah, you can say Tatum is the best defender on Boston when fully healthy. But it's like when you have Tatum, Brown, and Derek White who are just really good defenders, it's like pick your poison. Like whoever is guarding you, it's going to be hard to score on them. And that's what Derek White, that's what he's done. He's made it hard for anybody to score on him. So Derek White, he's made the Clamp 5 over the course of this season of 4 times. So Derek White is the Defensive Player of the Year in my opinion. But who I would have as runner-up might be shocking, and he's on the middle of the pack team. So like I said, this is just my list in my opinion. But Jalen Johnson, he's been really good. I predicted him to be an All-NBA player this season. He's giving you 8.7 defensive rebounds per game, 1.3 steals. He isn't averaging the most blocks, only 0.5 a game. But Jalen Johnson has been spectacular. He's played great defense. He made the Clamp 5 3 times on my list that I do each week. And he's really shown you he can take that step to the next level. Like with Trae Young being out, with Porzingis being out, Capella being out the lineup, Capella and Okongwu being in and out, back and forth. So it's like Jalen Johnson, he's just been great. Like it's not the only negative is that the Hawks are like the middle of the pack team and they're in the play-in again. So even if he doesn't finish second, it's my list, so he can be second here. Like he has the games played, he's giving you the effort, giving you the intensity, giving you triple doubles. So it's not that even goes further into his case. So maybe he could be all NBA. Maybe not because the middle of the pack, like I said. But if they could get to like a playoff seed at like 6, if possible, then he could definitely be up there. And then it was multiple guys who made the top five just twice. A few guys like Kawhi, like Dylan Brooks, but who I have at 3, 4, and 5, excuse me, I got Rudy Gobert at 3 at this moment. The impact he's made on the Timberwolves defense season by season has been amazing. He's giving you good defense. He's protecting the paint. He's getting rebounds, closing up possessions. He's blocking shots, contesting shots. He's trying his hardest on the perimeter. Like, he's not just giving no effort on the perimeter. I just seen him in a matchup versus Wemby, where it's like Wemby is struggling to get these same looks. He's making the shots, but he's not getting them easily. Like, these shots aren't coming to him easily. Like, when they switched Randall onto Wemby for one possession, Wemby got a way easier look and a way better shot. Like, Rudy Gobert is a really great defender. He's amazing. He's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. But Wemby is just so talented offensively that he can overcome that. Like, the only person that was able to lock down Wemby was Draymond Green this season, because he had such a high IQ for the game of basketball, and he's so much more experienced that he's able to do that. So he was just able to pick apart Wemby in those Warriors games. It's like he was still able to get some offense in. He was still solid, but he wasn't what we normally see. And even versus Rudy Gobert, it wasn't like he was amazing. Like, he had the stats, but Rudy made him struggle to get those buckets. And ironically enough, my two honorable mentions are Wemby and Scotty Barnes, because Wemby, it's going to be the games played by the end of the season. Because I know he's been coming off the bench recently just so they can preserve his health, and I know Luke Dort also is a dirty player, so obviously that, yeah. But my honorable mentions at 4 and 5 is Wemby and Scotty Barnes. Wemby's defense is amazing. Like, I don't know if he's getting blocks almost every game, closing out possessions. Whether he's starting or coming off the bench, he's just simply been amazing defensively. So, man, it's really just games played. Like, that's what it's going to come down to. Like, even though these are my list, I still want to follow the NBA rules of what they're doing. So by the end of the season, if he doesn't qualify for that, if he doesn't hit the 65 game mark, he can't be in the race. He can't be on my all defensive teams. But at this point in the season, he's on my list. He's in the race, in my opinion. But if he doesn't have the games played, it will be tough by the end of the season. Then Scotty Barnes, he's a really good rebounder. And I've seen Scotty Barnes in person. I went to a Raptors game this season where they played the Cavaliers. Scotty Barnes, his impact is insane. He does a great job just playing. Obviously, they're all great at playing defense. I keep saying the same thing, but he really locks in. He takes it serious. Isn't just chasing a block or a steal. Like, he's able to get them, and he's getting it at. Don't want to say that wrong, but he's getting. At least when I'm watching, it seems like he's getting a good amount of steals and blocks, but especially rebounds. I think rebounding is one of the most important things, because it shows you can either close out possessions or extend possessions. Because it also depends on the type of rebounder. Like a Mitchell Robinson, he's an amazing offensive rebounder, but I'm just talking about defense. And Mitchell Robinson not a bad defender, but he's a much better offensive rebounder than he is a defensive rebounder. And it takes skill and effort, and it shows you how determined he is to get those offensive boards. But Scotty averaging 6 defensive rebounds, 1.3 steals, 1.4 blocks. He is averaging close to 3 fouls, but I think that'll be fine. Like, even Jaren Jackson, I think, won it while having foul trouble. So Scotty Barnes can definitely be in the race if a Jaren Jackson can get it. And that's not to say that Jaren Jackson is terrible, but it's like his rebounding and defense and fouls have always been a problem for me. But my top 5 for DPOY, in my opinion, for my award race, for when I do my awards at the end of the year, for now I have Derek White 1, Jalen Johnson 2, Rudy Gobert 3, Wemby 4, Scotty Barnes 5. Wemby would probably be higher if he had more games played, because it was a few weeks. I wanted to put him on the Clamp 5, but it was like he had missed a few games that week. It was like he was looking on pace. I think he even had Giannis on here twice as well. It's like games played, team standings. Like, all these teams look good except for the Hawks, to be honest. It's like Jalen Johnson, he was the anomaly because he's been healthy this year. That's why he's over at Giannis, just based off of health alone. but Wemby is so transcendent when it comes to his defense. And that's not to say Giannis isn't, but Jalen Johnson, he made the clamp. I'm basing it off of who made the clamp five the most and who I think had the bigger impact. And impact wise, I'm gonna take Rudy, Wemby, and even Scotty or Giannis. And I just don't think that Bucks team has been well. Clearly, they haven't been good at all this season. But speaking of teams who have been cold this year, let's move into ice cold segment. I haven't really explained these segments. I kind of forgot about that. So yeah, I did it for the intro episode. To explain the segments real quick, Thursday podcast episodes, I'm gonna start with the Dynamite recap, as you saw, recapping Dynamite and whatever I don't plan on talking about in my shorts. I'm gonna do rankings, so whether that's award races like I just did for a specific award or MVP, DPOY, power rankings, it'll be stuff like that. Ice cold, and we're ice cold. This is an athlete or a team who is having a cold stretch and how it affects them. So let's get into it. Excuse me. While it's 50 degrees in Vancouver, the Canucks are freezing. The Vancouver Canucks, 16 and 25 and 5, and they're currently on an 8-game losing streak. So like I said, it's 50 degrees. It's in the middle in Vancouver, but the Canucks are struggling terribly. It's been a terrible season. They're last in the Pacific Division, last in the Western Conference, last in the league. They're just the worst everywhere. They're the last in points, too, with only 37. They're the only team with less than 40 points. So even the bottom of the barrel teams, they got at least 41 points. It's like you can't, and obviously 40 isn't good either. Those teams are still bad because they're like 41, 43 points. But that's not good, especially when you see his teams that have 74 points. It's like, obviously, you don't need 74 points for the season to be successful because obviously we know that's above the measuring stick. But it's like you can't even get to 40 when every team has 41 or more, and you're 4 under that with just 37 points on the season. Like this team is struggling bad, the Canucks, and I don't see any positives in this team. Their most recent game was versus the Ottawa Senators, who were on a 4-game losing streak going into that game. So both teams were on losing streaks. The Senators were on a 4-game losing streak. The Canucks were on a 7-game losing streak going into that game. And the Canucks the Canucks lost that game because now they're on an 8-game losing streak. The Senators won 3-2 in that game, I think. I think they won by 1. It might have been in regulation. I forget. I can look it up real quick. But I'm pretty sure they lost in regulation 3-2 to the I don't know why I looked up and okay. Excuse me for a second. Canucks who they played tonight versus the Blue Jackets, which I think the Blue Jackets win. They lost 2-1 in regulation to the Senators. So yeah, they lost 2-1 versus the Senators. And then to make it even more impressive, their losing streak, they're giving up 2 or more goals in each game. Like that's something. It's like sometimes that happens. The teams still win games. I was seeing at the Stanley Cup where the Oilers and Panthers, where they kept giving up a lot of goals to each other, but it was still a 7-game series, despite them giving up all those goals against each other. It was one of the higher scoring Stanley Cups in history, I think. And I've only been watching hockey for 2 years at that point, 3 now counting this season. It's like they're giving up 2 or more goals than every game as part of this losing streak. And to make it even more impressive, their points leader, Eliza Peterson, has 28 points. Just 28 points and he's their points leader. And then since I spoke of the Senators, I looked at because I've only seen a few of the Senators games, but I was curious, who's their points leader and how many does he have? Their points leader is Tim Stolze. I might have said that wrong, but he has 46 points and they're a middle of the pack team. So it's like even being middle of the pack with the Senators and their losing streak just ended recently. If he has 46 points and you're a bottom, and that's just middle of the pack, bottom of the barrel having your points leader having 28 points is quite embarrassing. So the Canucks, they're in a tough spot. I'm going to look at their schedule and see when I think that their 8-game losing streak will snap. They play the Blue Jackets, and it's a home game for the Blue Jackets. Taking the Blue Jackets in that game, they play the Oilers after that, which is that I think they lose that game too. It's a back-to-back. I don't see the Oilers dropping that game. And then they play the Islanders. That could be a loss. This could go very long. Capitals. Uh, that's a tough one. I'm looking at the schedule. I don't. They can maybe upset the Devils. I think them upsetting the Devils wouldn't be crazy since they're at home. Like they do got a nice. They got a. Hold on. This is crazy. After they play the Blue Jackets later today, I think they lose that game and the streak goes to 9. I mean, hopefully they can break it. But they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 8 straight home games following that. So they don't slap the losing streak tonight. They had to snap that one of those home games. And the Oilers game might be the game where they had the most momentum just because they're on a back-to-back, win or lose. They're on a back-to-back. They want to close it out strong. They don't want to get swept. They don't want to lose in a back-to-back, and they don't want to lose again. Well, they don't want to get swept, but they also, yeah, I think I worded that weird. But this, it might go to 10. They might upset the Islanders since it's a home game. I can see it. But it's like also they could beat the Oilers since that's, I don't know, 8-game losing streak. And it might, I think it's going to go a bit longer. I think they lose again tonight. And we'll see what happens, but yeah, it's not looking up from here. And, oh yeah, since speaking on predictions, the prediction gauntlet, this is a segment where I'll give my predictions for upcoming events. Some might be bold predictions, some might not be, but let's get into it. As you see in the title, as you see in the thumbnail, as you see in the description, the NFL Divisional round is taking place this weekend. We're going to get right into the predictions. I'm going to go game by, I don't know if I want to go by the games in order. Because the Bills and Broncos, I'm still undecided on. I'm going to do the NFC games first. I'm going to predict both of those. Then I'll go to the AFC. For the NFC, the Seahawks and 49ers game, this is the most interesting to me because I think because they can go, there's only one game that I see that's going to be a blowout. I'll talk about that in a second. The Seahawks and 49ers, it depends on one person, and that's Fred Warner. Because I heard that he was practicing. If the 49ers were able to get Fred Warner back for this game, I would take the 49ers. Despite them losing Kittle, I think Jake Thompson is stepping up regardless. I think he'll be solid. He's not going to replace Kittle, obviously. He won't be as good or provide as much as what Kittle can do. I don't see that. But I think he can be solid enough to keep them in the game. And I think Brock Purdy is good enough to make it happen. Kyle Shanahan, he's an amazing coach. Christian McCaffrey, he's been great. Like, yes, they went 1-1 versus each other this season. So, they split the season series. But I think it comes down to the 49ers. Like, they held them to just 16 points in their last game. The 49ers just weren't able to score. And I don't see that. Despite them losing Kittle, I think Tone steps up. I think CMC has another great game. I think Brock Purdy will be good. But it's also, I still don't trust Sam Darnold in the playoffs. And obviously, if you're missing Fred Warner still, it's like that's going to make it a bit easier for him because obviously last year we saw what happened with Minnesota where he wasn't good in the playoffs. And I still don't trust him based off of that. Like, was he good this year? Yes. But the last few weeks he didn't show me. The last few weeks he showed me what he did last year in Minnesota in the playoffs. So it's like if they get Fred Warner back, I'm taking the 49ers. But I think he's going to be able to get to Sam Darnold a few times, and the defense is going to hold, and it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think regardless, it might be low-scoring, but Warner is going to allow you to get some extra stops. If you don't have Fred Warner, that might be an easier day for a Charbonnet or a Ken Walker to go off. It might be JSN. He might be able to play just as well as he did in that last game because I think he was solid that last game. So it's heavily dependent on Fred Warner for me. So if the 49ers have Fred Warner, if they get him back, I take the 49ers. If the 49ers don't have Fred Warner, I take the Seahawks, and I think they pull out the win. But I do think this is going to be the lowest scoring game of the other 4 games this weekend. Not to move into the other NFC game. This game, I think, is going to be super high scoring between the Rams and Bears. And we've seen that the Bears can have a shoot. We've seen the Bears and Rams. We've seen them have shootouts this year. Even the Bears just had to pull off a comeback last week, being down 21-3, won that game. The Rams went back and forth with the Panthers twice this season in two games where it was like they shouldn't be this close with the Panthers, but they're just, I guess Bryce Young just loves to play the Rams. He balls out versus the Rams and the Falcons. So that's funny. But there's going to be a high scoring affair. Uh, One thing that happened with the Rams and the Panthers game is that after Puka had that drop, it was like his confidence was shot just throughout the game. I don't see that happening again. Like, I don't see him having a drop that crucial to the point where I don't see him having a drop that crucial in general, but I don't see him having a drop so bad that it affects his entire mood the whole game. Because I was obviously only able to see highlights of it because I was flying home. So my only Braden had to keep me updated on what was going on. But I don't see him having a drop that crucial and that big in this stage. Because Spook is a vet at this point. He's been in the league a few years. He knows how good he is. We know how good he is. I don't see that happening. I know his teammates, McVay, I'm sure Sean McVay has talked to him about that drop. And I don't see that. And he still had a really good game. So him having a drop like that, and I don't see that in this round of the playoffs. I don't see it happening versus the Bears. So, and then for the Bears, like, I don't want to make it all about the Rams and what they're able to do. Like, the Bears, they're good too. I like Caleb Williams. He's having a great season. Enjoy what he's been able to do, proving all the doubters wrong. They only wanted to give him one season to prove himself. That questioned him at USC because they weren't winning games, even though he was putting up the points. The defense wasn't getting stops. But Caleb Williams, I like what he's been able to do. DJ Moore's cool. They got Swift. They got Swift and Monunga. So they got a cool running back duo. This is gonna be a fun, high-scoring game. But I'm taking the Rams. I think I'm gonna just go with the experience. I'm taking the Rams because I'm gonna go with the experience, and that's not to say that the Bears will lose because of inexperience. But that's not what I'm saying. Like, the whole being inexperienced, I think it only applies to certain people. Like Ben Johnson, he's been a great coach this year. So being inexperienced, that's not necessarily my problem with the Bears. I just like how I would just take the experience factor with the Rams just because they have more experience. Not to say that being inexperienced is a bad thing, because they're in the playoffs. They was just a 5-win team last year. So we've seen how Ben Johnson can turn them around. But if the Bears won, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, they have the tools to do it. They have the coaching staff to do it. But I don't see Sean McVay losing. I think Stafford's time is up pretty soon. Not this year, but I do think these next two, maybe he has a year or two left. But I think the writing is pretty much on the wall for Stafford at this point in his career, because the only thing he can do is win another Super Bowl, and I think that's how he wants to go out. I'm sure if the Rams do win this year, he'll go out. He'll retire. If they don't, I'm sure he'll run it back next season in hopes of winning the ring. But I really think Stafford, he's going to go out fighting, whether it be this year or within the next 2 years, whether he got a year or two left. I'm going to take the Rams here. I like the experience factor, but it also comes down to Puka Nacua. Like, he's not having a drop so crucial that it affects his mood the entire game. And the Bears can put up more points than what the Panthers did. And the Panthers did a really good job. But I do like the Bears' offense more. That's why I say it's going to be high scoring. But I think down the stretch, I'll take McVay, Stafford, Puka, just the more experienced guys. So, like I said, being experienced is not a bad thing. Like, this is how you build the experience. So it's like next year, even if they win, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. And it also all depends on matchups. If they do win, maybe they play the Seahawks or the Niners. What they're gonna have, whether they play the Hawks or the Niners, like, my opinion might change depending on who it is. So we'll just have to see. And now the Patriots, and now for the AFC, I'm saving the Broncos Bills game for last because I still don't know who I got winning. For the Patriots and Texans game, this one is the easiest one for me to predict. I'm going with the Patriots. I think people are comparing the stats of Drake May and CJ Stroud and what they did in their first playoff game this year. You've seen CJ Stroud in the playoffs multiple times because we've seen CJ the last 2 weeks, right? I mean, the last 2 years. His first two, first 2 years, I gotta turn my phone around. We've seen this is CJ Stroud's third year in the league. We've seen him in the playoffs. We've seen what he's not able to do against a really good defense in the Ravens. And even the Steelers defense was really good until the final stretch. Like the Steelers defense had a slow start to the season, which was unusual. But down the stretch of the season, they played a lot better. And CJ Stroud and the Texans didn't do anything until the fourth quarter, and they was really taking advantage of the Steelers' mistakes. It wasn't like the defense was doing. It's not like their offense. I mean, the Texans' offense was doing anything super crazy. It was the Steelers. It was the Texans capitalizing off of the Steelers' mistakes. So you got to give credit to the Texans' defense. So I do like their defense. It's like Drake May. You're comparing his stats to a guy who's playing in his fifth playoff game. What are we doing here? CJ Stroud is the more experienced guy, and Drake May looked better comparing their stats, comparing their games from just this year. Because people are just showing the stats, but comparing their games from this playoffs alone, I like what I've seen from Drake May more. And Drake May, this is his first playoff game. This is his second playoff game now. This is Stroud's sixth playoff game. And CJ can't make those mistakes against the Patriots. Fumbling 5 times in a game, you recovered a few of them, yeah. The Patriots, they're capitalizing on every turnover. Throw a pick to Marcus Jones and see what happens. Yeah. So it's going to be a good defensive game. I don't think it's going to be like crazy high scoring. Won't be crazy low scoring either. But I don't see Drake May making those same mistakes that he did last week. Like I seen Drake May throughout the season get gradually better, and I only know what I've seen. It's like it's not like they've been in the league that far apart. But this is CJ's sixth playoff game and May's second, and I trust Drake May more to get the win than CJ Stroud. So I trust the offense more too. DK, not DK, man. What's it? Stephon Diggs. DK lucky too, but Stephon Diggs, you're really lucky. I know you won't be seeing this, but for them to say they will deal with your case after the either after the Patriots go to the Super Bowl or after their season ends, yeah, after the Patriots season ends. So whether that be this weekend, whether that be the Pats going to the Super Bowl, they're waiting for the past season to officially end to do anything about your case. You're very lucky. A regular human is not getting away with. A regular person isn't getting away with that. Average regular day person, they're not getting away with that. But yeah, that's the privilege of being an athlete. The Bills and Broncos, like I said in my short, this is the hardest one for me to predict because they played last year, and the Bills they won 31-7. But I don't think these teams are different from last year. The Bills are worse than last year, especially defensively, and the Broncos have gotten a bit better. But it's like I still don't know how I feel about Bo Nix. Like I'm glad he played that final week, so he only had a week of rest instead of two. But it's like how much do you trust Bo Nix in the playoffs? Because we seen what he's able to do last year. He had a good season this year. I can't deny that. The defense is what led them to 14-3, but it's like they still have to put points on the board as well. So I can't just give all the credit to the defense. But Bo Nix, he was solid. But it's like Josh Allen, he's so great in the playoffs. It's only bad playoff games really against the Bengals in 2023, I think. Yeah, in the divisional round. But it's like, I don't know, because Khalil Shakir, he had a great game. 12 catches, 12 receptions, 82 yards. But James Cook wasn't able to do anything versus Jaguars. And the Broncos defense is just as good, if not better. I think I like the Jaguars defense more. But if anything, they're on the same level. So if the Jaguars can do that to James Cook, I imagine they could do the same thing. What's good, Lucas? I imagine that the Broncos defense could do the same thing that the Jaguars did to James Cook. And that's not to say that he's going to be he could be the X factor, but it's like they still won the game without him having to do anything else. Not only live on YouTube. So it's like they were able to, so they contained drives. Yeah, Jaguars, they contained James Cook and almost won the game. Like, I really wonder what that game would have been like if Travis Hunter was there. Like, obviously, he was having a solid season as a rookie. I think they was going to transition him to a receiver, but due to the injury, they had to go out and get Jacoby Myers, and he made a great impact on that team throughout the season. Went on an 8-game winning streak. So it's like, if I'm the Jaguars, I'm just if I'm in the Jaguar situation, I'd just be excited that you're getting Travis Hunter back next season. And if you keep Jacoby Myers, just have Hunter at DB, and he can be in special plays for receiver. But back to the Bills game, the Bills and Broncos, toughest one to predict in my opinion, because I don't. It's like I don't see the Broncos getting beat as bad as they did last year. So the Eagles, I'm an Eagles fan. Because even if the Broncos do lose, I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was last year. I think it's going to be a closer game, but it's tough. I don't know who. I don't know who's winning this game. Like I said, Josh Allen's great, but it's like, can they stop Bo Nix again? Because they stopped him last year. They ain't a lot of offense to do anything last year. But it's like Bo Nix has improved from what he did last year. So I don't know. I think for personal reasons, I want the Broncos to win. My dad is a Broncos fan, so I love to see them win. But if the Bills, I got a friend that's a Bills fan, so if they won, I wouldn't be mad either. Like a personal bias, I want the Broncos to win this game, but I think I want the Broncos to win, but I think the Bills pull it out. I think it's gonna be close. Yeah, Bills. I think I'm gonna go with the Bills. That's I'm predict to win, but I want the Broncos to win though, since my dad is a Broncos fan. He said you think the Seahawks will win. I talked about the Seahawks a bit earlier, so I can't not gonna go fully into detail. But I think if Fred Warner comes back, I heard that he's trying to practice. If they get Fred Warner back, I'm taking the 49ers. If Fred Warner doesn't play, I'm taking the Seahawks. So that's heavily dependent on Fred Warner, in my opinion. Now for the next segment of the podcast, the impact stat of the week. So this segment, this is going to be a stat that tells a bigger story, whether that's for better or for worse. So that could be any sport. This week is going to be basketball. This is just this really the impact stat of the season. Dyson Daniels. I'll answer that in a second. Dyson Daniels. He hasn't made a three-pointer since December 14th. That's a hilarious stat. And he's taking 1.5 threes a game while only shooting 11%. So it's like he's almost taken to a game, but he's only shooting 11%. He didn't shoot a three in the Lakers game, so that was funny. But 11% from three, that's insane. I didn't even think that was possible, especially for somebody like a Dyson Daniels archetype who's supposed to be a 3-and-D guy. Like that's within, like he was the league leader in steals last year. He was known for being one of the best perimeter defenders in the league last year, and now he's known as one of the worst shooters in the league. So it's funny how time works. But he's still a really good defender. It's just shooting 11% from three. It's like, yeah, of course the Hawks are going to lose games when you got a guy that's shooting 11% from three who's supposed to be your shooting guard and small forward at times. So it's like he's only taking 1.5 a game. So it's not like it's like it should. You would hope it's better. And what's funny about Dyson Daniels, I think he took that same amount 2 years ago, and he averaged. No, he was taking that same amount three. Was that? Was his fourth year in the league? Okay, I thought he was in the league for 5. But no, in his rookie year, he took 1.5 a game, shot 31%. In his second year, he was still with the Pelicans, shot 31%. Oh, that's nice. Then he went up to 34% last year with the Hawks, taking 3 a game. I don't know why it went down so much. Like if he was taking 3 a game, shooting 34%, I would expect him to just keep shooting because I don't see the point of him to stop. Because 34%, you're showing that you're getting better at least. And then it just went down drastically to 11.3% this year. And he's taking 2 less shots, but it's like he's also taking less threes, which I don't see why. I mean, now field percentage is bad, only making 0.2 a game out of 1.5 attempts. But the last 3 years, he shot 30% at least. He shot 32.7%, taking 2.3 in his first 3 years in the league. Now in his fourth year, goes down by 20%. It went down by 21%. Like that's something unheard of. That's not something you see all the time. So yeah, That's a drastic failure. But yeah, that's just impact stat. Something interesting. It was good. Now I'm gonna move into the last segment of the podcast. So y'all are allowed. I see Lucas. I sent you a question about Mike Tomlin. I got to get through this last segment, then I'll answer questions before I go. For athletes of the week, this is a simple segment. Um, just the best performing athletes of the week across different sports. Now, for this week, since I just started this new podcast on Tuesday, this is going to be from January 1st to January 14th. Then starting next week, it'll be just from a week to week basis. This is going to be 2 weeks since I just started this new podcast. So for the NBA, I'm going with Jamal Murray for these first 2 weeks. Nuggets are 3-2 in the calendar year 2026. He's had 3 30-plus point games, 2 games with 16 plus assists, also while not having Jokic. So, and then the Nuggets also had a win dating back to December 31st. It was following the Jokic injury. Appreciate you. So yeah, the Nuggets are 4-2 without Jokic. 3 of those wins coming in the calendar year of 2026. So Jamal Murray had to reward him with Athlete of the Week for these 2 weeks. For Unrivaled, the women's basketball league that doesn't take place during the WNBA season, takes place around this time. Went with Chelsea Gray. She's led her team the Rose to a 3-0 start this year. League leader in points. Only person averaging over 27 points. She's giving you 31.7 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 5.7 assists per game, and 1.7 steals per game. So she's been amazing, and it's just great being able to see women's basketball, whether that be through Unrivaled, through college, like the WNBA might be going into a lockout, which I'm gonna have a video about that out tomorrow. So hopefully that's not the case, but that could be. I mean, it's very possible. So we'll see what happens. And speaking of women's basketball, I keep it. Yeah, women's college basketball. Hannah hit a Lego. I said her name wrong. Oh my goodness, Higaleo. I forget how to pronounce her name sometimes. But despite Notre Dame going 2-2 these 2 weeks, she had 3 games of 20 plus points and 3 games of 6 plus steals. So she's phenomenal offensively and defensively, and she's just been doing her thing. For men's college basketball, went with Morzay Johnson Jr. from Michigan. They went 3-1 over these 2 weeks. He had 3 double-digit scoring games, and he had a 3 block game last night, along with a 16-16 double-double with points and rebounds. And he's shot 50% or better in each game. So yeah, that was obvious choice. For the NFL, had to go with this. Right. For the NFL, went with Matthew Stafford. Week 18 led the Rams to a 17-point win over the Cardinals, where he had 259 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. And then in the playoffs, in the wild card versus the Panthers, he had 304 passing yards. He did have an INT, but he had 3 touchdowns in that game as well. So we allowed them to secure the 5th seed. Because that allowed the 49ers to fall to 6. So that way, if they won, they wouldn't have to face the 1 seed if they were the lowest seeded team. So the Rams, Matthew Stafford got them to where they needed to be, and he got them to the divisional round of the playoffs. In college football, Fernando Mendoza. He's the clear number 1 pick. He's amazing. Like, I know he's not. A lot of people don't like him. I don't think a lot of people think he's special, but. And I mean, he's great. Like, what more do you want? Like, when I read these stats off, and it's not just the stats, just watching him play. Like, he's making the right decision. He's not committing a lot of turnover-worthy plays. He doesn't commit turnover-worthy plays in general. So it's like he's scoring, he's putting points on the board. It's like, what else do you need from a quarterback? And he's able to scramble a little bit when needed, but it's not much. A 38-3 win versus Alabama, and a 56-22 win versus Oregon. And these are in the playoffs. When I read off his stats, you would think, oh, you can do this in 1 game, maybe aside from the touchdowns. In these 2 games, he had more touchdowns than incompletions. He went 31 of 36. 31 pass completions, 36 pass attempts, 369 passing yards, and 8 touchdowns. More touchdowns than incompletions thrown. 14 carries, 44 yards, just a 3.1 average. But he's getting a few yards when he runs. It might not be much, but he's getting you a few yards. And he hasn't committed a turnover in the playoffs. I can't ask for much more out of a guy this special. He's going number one. He's going to the Raiders. The offensive line is terrible. But he's really good. I don't know what else to say. And then, I think I'll end it with the wrestling talk. But since I started with wrestling, I'll have to answer that question. I ain't forget about that. For WWE, I went with Carmelo Hayes. He's had the 2 best matches of 2026 so far. Johnny Gargano and Shinsuke, both of those one-on-one matches was really good that Melo had. And he's retained the U.S. Championship in both of them. So, yeah. For AEW, had to go with the Babes of Wrath. They've been putting on some entertaining segments this year with Mercedes Moné, with the feud with the Triangle of Madness that involves Chris Statlander. I can't even gave it to any 6 of them. Like, that whole feud's just been super fun with them 3. And then the trios matches they've had have been great. So, yeah, they just need to defend the title soon. Willow became champion. So, yeah, the Babes of Wrath, Chris Statlander, Triangle of Madness, like all 6 doing their thing. So I really could have rewarded 6 of them, to be honest, since it's 2 weeks. But they've been the best thing at AEW so far this year. For TNA, went with JDC. This is a honorary award since JDC is getting ready to retire this weekend. And I wanted to give him something before he went out on my podcast specifically. But he's making the most of his final few weeks in wrestling with the 4-on-4 match he just had recently. I think it's his match with Eddie Edwards. I know it's going to be really good. I hope JDC gets the win. I don't think he needs to lose this last match, but I'm excited for that. For Ring of Honor, I went with Bandito. He's feuding with MJF and Jay Lethal at the same time these few weeks. I don't think the feud with MJF is over, though, because obviously stuff happened after the match. Brody King, he came out there. So I think, and that was after the match, he won clean, fair, and square. But I think it's more, but I still think he got to go with Jay Lethal feud, too. He's been doing his thing in Ring of Honor and on AEW TV. For New Japan, I went with Zack Sabre Jr. I know Tanahashi just retired, but I haven't seen that match yet. I'm trying to find time to watch it. But Zack Sabre Jr., 6-man tag champ, now been putting on some good matches to start the year. So, yeah. Now, for the MLV, the Major League Volleyball, Theodora Puska for the Orlando Valkyries. She's leading the league in digs with 43 digs and 4.78 digs per set. So that is phenomenal. And the Valkyries start the season 2-0. So I've only been able to check out their highlights because their games have mainly been on the Roku channel over their games. But I have seen enough to where she's definitely worth being up here. Then for gymnastics, I went with Jordan Childs. I spoke on her on Tuesday. So I think this was obvious. Won all around in the very first meet of the year with a 39.725 score. So, yeah, that's not too much more I can say about that. And with that being said, since there's still some time left, like I said, if y'all weren't tuned in to the first episode, my goal is to go from 50 minutes minimum, max 1 hour. So I don't know if you're still in the chat, Lucas, or what. You said, what do I think about Mike Tomlin? Great coach, not an elite coach. I think that might be a hot take. But for you to never have a losing season for 19 years and only go to the Super Bowl twice, it's like never having a losing season. Is it impressive? Yes. But it's like, where's the playoff success? You lost 7 straight playoff games. And it's like, that's not, like, he had to step down. Like, yeah, he's a great coach. He is. I'm not saying that he's not a good coach. He's better than good. He's great. But is he elite? No. He never had a losing season. But it's like, even if you sacrifice the losing season to build something else, like, you tried to take a chance on Kenny Pickett. I give him credit for that. Taking Kenny Pickett to the playoffs is impressive. But it's like you keep rotating. After Big Ben left, you kept getting these older guys like the Russ, like the Rodgers. Like, even if the Kenny Pickett investment didn't work out, you go 5-12 one season, you're not losing your job. The owners love Mike Tomlin. He had to step down. They wasn't going to fire him. Because look at it like this. If they go 5-12 next year, nobody's gonna be upset because it allows them to get a high draft pick and allows them to get some more talent on the team. Then it allows them to build around that talent, whether that be a running back or a receiver or whatever. If they go 5-12 or 4-13 next season, assuming that Rodgers retires, Steelers fans won't be mad because they're able to build something else now. Because with Big, you haven't really built anything since Big Ben retired. So Mike Tomlin, I don't think like he stepped down. It is what it is. I think that was a good decision. Because they weren't going to fire him. The owners love Mike Tomlin. It wasn't. They weren't even like. And if he did get fired, it would have been justified because you just fought 7 straight playoff games. Like yes, you've been able to get us there, but the last time you won, it was Trump's second day in office. So you haven't won since January 2017, a playoff game. So it's like you have this good regular season success, that's cool, but you got to be able to win in the playoffs. It's like the one time they did win, Tom Brady was injured. That was the one time they won a ring, and they got to the Super Bowl another time. But it's like you can't take that away from them, though. Still won at the end of the day. That's what's important to winning. But they haven't done enough of that in the playoffs. Like having successful regular seasons is cool, but you got to win a playoff game at least. In 7 years, you can't win one playoff game. Some of these have been straight blowouts, like that fourth quarter collapse. Like I didn't think they was beating the Texans, but to get blown out 30-6, man, was it 30-7? Did they have? I forget who had 6. It was 30 to something. But yeah, um, yeah, that's. Yeah, I pinned this earlier. Like I said, I appreciate that. But with that being said, it's gonna be dropping some shorts after this about AEW from last night. Some of the stuff I didn't cover earlier. I'm gonna have a new video out tomorrow about the potential WNBA lockout that could be coming. That's definitely a possibility. I hope it doesn't happen. But with that being said, leave a like, subscribe, share for others to see, comment. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any hot takes, let me know. So, yeah, with that being said, peace out.